All right, everyone. Your host, Cy Smith, coming to you. I know it's been a while, so happy New Year to everyone. I pray that you're well, that your family is well. I pray that you're optimistic about what the future looks like. I hope that you are not being overly consumed by what you see happening in the state capitol, especially if you're black. It's a certain way I look at that whole case and scenario, and I want to share that with you guys. I want to talk about the young man that committed heinous acts of murder throughout Chicago. So, several things I want to talk about. I am recording, so this is something that you'll be able to see on YouTube later. Today, again, is Monday, January 11th. Every Monday is safety day. Every Monday, we talk about what can we do to be safer, and definitely going to talk about that given what we have experienced in Chicago. So, for those who don't know, yesterday was my birthday, the second Sunday, which is January 10th, 1975. That's when I was born. So I gave kudos to my mom. She's still living, and I thanked her for having me. And then again, I thank each of you because I am a reflection of all the people who I get a chance to learn from, talk to, share ideas with. So I'm grateful for that, and just want to say thank you to everyone that sent birthday wishes, prayers, money. We had quite a few people send money. So I appreciate everyone who did that. So let's talk about several things. First and foremost, let's deal with Chicago, headquarters for what we do globally out of Chicago. So I did get a text from someone saying that there was someone going around randomly killing people in Chicago. And it bothered me. I immediately started doing my research. And at the end of the day, it was accurate. We had a random person out killing people, shooting people. And what came to my mind immediately was when I got that information, I knew that it was the West Side was on duty. I immediately went to our structure to see what could be done about this. And the way we're structured, every day someone is set, watching after our backs, looking after us, because they know 30 days in advance when it's their turn to do that. And it's nowhere near working the way it should. It's working, 0.1%. But the structure is there, the system is there. It's just a matter of getting our people to operate in it, and that's going to take a little bit more repetition to win our people over that way. But every day we know who's on duty, and that on duty means people who should be the extra eyes and ears, making sure that we are safe, informed, and aware of what's happening, so that we can kind of mitigate stuff like this. All right, so that I just wanted to say that. And for all of our people, when you have a person riding around just shooting people on random, it's hard uh, to stop that. And of course, even if you're a concealed carry person, you have to, the element of surprise still can get you. If you're not anticipating it, then it's hard for you to prepare. Even with the biggest gun, if you caught off guard, it doesn't matter. So would you know to be on guard that there's a random person going around unless it hits the news? No. So it can happen. We all will leave this physical world. So we all going to transition. But the key is, are we doing the most we can to make it better while we're here? And so what I would say to everyone, uh, please, the duty day process allows us to make sure no matter where we are, we got people who are paying extra attention to our surroundings. And in this case, when you got a person who contaminated box was so swollen that he acted out the way he did, that hurt, abuse, and bitterness inside of him ended up hurting and abusing other people and their loved ones. So very unfortunate. My suggestion going forward is get to know your duty day and really, really honor your duty day by checking in and finding out what's going on and what we could use to help you to help make your environment better and safer. Today is zip code 60629 on duty. So if anything happened, we're looking at Tracy, we're looking at Terry, Mother McFadden, we're looking at our people in that one zip code 606 29. All right. So the last piece on that, what happened in Chicago, is getting in front of incidents like this. So what do I mean by that? When a person is doing that now, they have to be addressed. And the Evanston police addressed him and they ended up costing him his life. So the question is, what could we have done to prevent this? What could have been done 2 hours before he went on the spree, 24 hours before he went on this spree? And this is where um, National Block Club University is so, to me, important to get neighbors in agreement that we're better together. That don't mean we have to spend all this time together, but being connected matters. Being not connected and isolated allows people who are going through a mental stress and trauma to think about the remedies all by themselves in a vacuum versus bouncing their challenges off of someone else who can get them better advice, more sound advice. So I wanted to just put that out there to all of us that it makes sense for us to um, not be as isolated and try to be connected, try to get to know each other so that we don't be feeling like we're out there all by ourselves, which I'm not diagnosing, trying to diagnose this guy, but just knowing that most people, when they do stuff like that, is definitely upstairs first. And a lot of times, if we spread the love the way we can, it can it can mitigate sometimes someone going off the deep end like that. So that's what I wanted to say about that tragedy situation. Condolences to all the loved ones and their family members who, unfortunately, whole world has been turned upside down as a result of this spirit. I want to give kudos to the people of Georgia, all the people of Georgia who came through for the nation. The election was last Tuesday, and the turnout was record breaking, and it ended up allowing the Senate to change. And so now we have a state that's been red for 30 years now turned blue. And so that's going to have a total shift in philosophy in the country. And while I don't claim Democrat or Republican, I saw the need for something different, and that's why I voted for change as well. So I wanted to acknowledge Georgia. Now, if you are able to write this down, because what I'm about to share with you is took some thought and is something that could benefit if applied. So I want to give this to you, and it boils down to SWV. SWV, and that stands for success, winning, and victories. Success, winning, and victory. And where I'm going with this is almost like a pastor in his sermon. So where I'm going with this is when I look at the state of Black America, Black society here and in Africa, a lot of times we are chasing or we are going along with what the European model is. And with anything, the Asians, the Hispanics, everyone have their version of what winning is for their community, what success is for their culture. And unfortunately, because of what we've been through, the trauma we've been through, we've adopted our previous slave owners' definitions of what winning is, what success is, what is victory. Hell, some of us still have our slave owners' last names. We don't even know our original last names. So the point is, SWV, as a lot of us know it, is based on what European models say success is, what winning is, what victory is. What I want to bring to your awareness right now is a different angle, a different view, because what I see in our community is too many of our leaders, too many of our people who have so much to offer, who's doing so much to help people every day. We're chasing what is defined by the European model of success. And I get this a whole lot when people ask me, hey, you 501c3, as if you can't perform a good task or deed unless you are 501c3, which the European model again says you're a legitimate charity. Well, when you file your 990, that's an information return. So, not that people make that stuff up, but just know that all you're doing is going on record saying this is how much came in, this is what went out. Uh, it doesn't show all the stuff that it took for you to secure the grants or secure the donations, which a lot of times we know the same organizations get the same funding and the things they do to get the funding is not helping the community, it's hurting because it's going to the same people all the time. So anyway, the key for me is to redefine this, what we call success, what we call winning, what we call victory. And this is what I want you to write down if you're going to write down anything. What's more important than success? What's more important than winning? What's more important than having a victory? Because all of those three things is based on what someone who probably didn't go through slavery, didn't go through the trauma of slavery came up with. And so for black people, especially those descendants from slavery, success, we wouldn't be successful under a certain term, but success for us was the fact that our ancestors kept fighting. They didn't stop slavery, but they didn't give up either. They kept fighting. And so when you keep fighting, that says you have perseverance. So while perseverance isn't success, what I'm suggesting is perseverance says something about your character and it's worth something, even if you don't get the so called victory, even if you don't get the so called award. Your perseverance says something. You never gave up. Character trait. Also, whenever you're competing or doing something to try to reach a goal, when you are positive about it versus negative, that says something about you. It says something about you when you don't lie, steal, or cheat to so-called win. It says something about you as a character. It says something about you when you know you don't know something, you go and do the homework, find out about it. Now you're more informed as a person. Whether you so-called win or lose, you're a better educated person about something. Everything I just described to me is winning. Whether you win what they say is the award or not. The winning is you became a better person. It exposed who you are. Every time you have to perform, it's a reflection of who you are, your preparation, how you handle losing, how you handle conflict, how you handle disappointment. So for me, the process is more important than the European model of what success, winning, and victory is. Hope you got that. Hope that resonate in your spirit, because too often I see our leaders chasing after success, winning, and victories, and our process is flawed. They trampling over people to get to the so-called top. They backbiting and talking about each other along the way. See, all those things reveal something about you. Everything you speak out of your mouth is a reflection of how you came up, who raised you. And so I just wanted to put that out there because I'm gonna segue over now to why I wanted to talk about that first. When you look up the word weak, weak, it is several meanings to weak, but the opposite of weak is strong. All right. So when you look at, they say lacking power to perform. That's what weakness is, lacking power. Anything of a demanding task, lacking physical strength and energy. Also, insecurities. So when I think about what happened at the U.S. Capitol, and too many people right now is feeling like um, things are horrible, things are bad. I believe that this here is a necessary time and place. We're in a necessary time and place where people who felt this way for a long time feel emboldened and they're coming out and expressing themselves, and that's good. Because one thing is, uh, I don't want to be stabbed in the back. I rather know you're trying to stab me so I can defend myself. But if you stab me in the back, that means I wasn't aware of what you was getting ready to do. So we know there are people in this country who are weak. All right, as a human being, they're weak, and therefore they find strength or so-called strength in putting and holding other people back. Let me say that again. There are people in this country, and even from our origin of this country, who felt like Africans were inferior or so called weak, and they felt the need to dominate and control them. What really, again, shows their weakness that you felt someone else was weak. All right. So I say that so to get us up to what happened at the Capitol. We've known for a long time that there are people masquerading as Second Amendment people who just want their rights, who just want to make sure that they can have their guns. But what's really underneath that is a fear that they're going to be overtaken, a fear that they're going to lose, a fear that they don't measure up. And all those fears is unfounded. All those fears are in their mind to me, because the fact of the matter is, when especially when you look at black people, we are the most forgiving group out there. Look at what's happened to our ancestors, and we still are peaceful, except for to each other. And so when a weak person, weak spirit is feeling all this fear, is really because they just haven't opened up to give a chance. And so when you do that, you will see that you become a more empowered human being when you have a diversity of different races and ethnicities as confident as friends to you. I consider myself more empowered because I have white friends, I have black friends, I have Asian friends, I have all these different perspectives that help me to be more grounded and dynamic when I speak, instead of speaking from ignorant, one-dimensional place. So anyway, what you saw in the Capitol with those people, um, my personal thoughts is that the president and his rhetoric incited them. So I'm on the record saying that big time. But those people are grown-ups. Those people knew what they were doing. So whether he incited them or not, they made a choice, and they had to be held accountable for their actions. They had the luxury or privilege of being able to go and also leave. And we know that privilege and that luxury isn't afforded to our community. We would have been detained and held. And so we know that that's part of the privilege on that other side. But for what's coming up on the inauguration and all the reports that the weak spirits are going to be storming state capitals all over the country, here's what I would say. And I say this to you: if you are one of those supremacists, one of those people who think that you are better than someone else or think someone else is holding you back, I would say this to you. The fact of the matter is, this is the most powerful country in the world militarily. And this country is one of the most powerful because of the diversity of all these different ethnicities all in one, making it. And so most of the people in this country are German descent. 300 plus million people, majority is German descent, about 16%. Um, the next largest is the are the Irish. And when you look at what happened at the state capitol, you didn't see a lot of French, you didn't see a lot of Scottish, you didn't see a lot of Polish. You saw primarily what is reflective in the country when you talk about the white society. That's more German ancestry, Irish ancestry. So I say that because when you think about Germany's history, and where the Confederate flag came from, a lot of that has roots there in Germany. And this is what I would say to all people when we talk about this nation and where it's going moving forward. The fact of the matter is, with technology that gives us transparency and empowers everyone, everyone has a platform and stage. The old way of being in control and dominating and being higher up and superior is over. It's over. So I'm saying to you guys, it's over. The best thing to do right now is to find a way to get the hate out of, get the weakness out of your heart. Find the courage to say, you know what, everyone is human. Everyone deserves to be given a level playing field. So let me stop it right now. Let me mature and grow up right now and stop being insecure, self centered, focused on just me. Even though my ancestors and my great granddaddy was this way, I don't have to be this way. That's what it's going to require, because the fact of the matter is, the world is getting more and more brown. That's just a fact. Europe population birth rates are down, and even here in the U.S. And so the fact is, at some point, you won't be the dominant group. You won't be the majority, and that's okay. Is what I'm saying to you. Trust me, from someone who been marginalized, who been the minority, it's okay. You will still live, and you can live a good life. So it's really about how do you find it to get out of a state of weakness and fear and get into a state of collaboration and strength. We're better together. So that's for all those people who feel like someone is holding you back. If you look in the mirror, you'll see who's holding who back. It's really about you and your thinking and the way you operate. So I wanted to put that out there. But the raw reality is, things are not going back to the way it used to be, where you were able to control, dominate. Every law and rule was written on your behalf. It's not going back that way. The genie is not going back in the bottle. So if you go out there on January 16th, Dr. King birthday holiday, or at the inauguration, Please know this. Just like the Civil War, you had white people who was against the Confederate spirits, people that wanted to keep slaves, and they would spill blood for that. So if you want to go up against the most powerful military in the world with your guns, with your ARs that you think you're all powerful for, you're no, trust me, you have no might compared to the might of this military. And for those people who will say, well, you know, they're inside the military, I get that. And the good part, again, with this happening, is going to flush out those supremacists that's in the military. Because again, you can't put the genie in the bottle. If you are that spirit and you have this supremacist mindset with technology, with the internet, you're going to be exposed. You can't hide no more. You just can't hide no more. So the best thing to do is to repent, atone, and get ready to collaborate. So I should write that down. Repent, atone, and get ready to collaborate, because that way of operating in the past is over. So the quicker you take that advice, the stronger you'll be. So go out there if you want to and try to, cause mayhem, and just know that the tide is shifting. They're calling you out more. Other white people are calling you out more. They're calling you terrorists, insurrectionists. And the more they do this, it's going to lead up to a place where it's going to be you going against the military on U.S. soil, and you're going to lose. And I don't want you to lose your life unnecessarily when all you had to do was repent, atone, and collaborate. But it's on you. It's on you. If you want to go up against the most powerful military here, you're going to suffer that fate. And the fact is, the world is still turning more brown. So that's where that is. All right. So got that out the way. Now, going back to what National Block Club University is doing and where we are. The bottom line is something has been built for us. And what's been built for us is going to make the whole world better. All right. Now, that's going to take a little time. We're concerned with the first step, which is Chicago. Now, earlier today, I was talking to one of the elders, and the elders speak their mind. I appreciate that. And the elder was pointing to all the bad things happening in our society. And what I shared with that person, they were saying how the work that we doing just would get overwhelmed with all these problems, so many problems that happen at the same time. And I think this elder finally, the light bulb went off and they got the point I've been trying to make, which is what I want to make right now with you guys. And here's this: we've been up against a structural problem as black people in this country and a systemic problem. Two totally separate problems, structural and systemic. And the best way to conceptualize that in your head is when you think about a jury. If you're a black person on trial and the jury pool is like all whites, that's a structural problem, because you as a black man now has to convince people who don't live in your community, don't know your experiences, that you're innocent. That don't mean all white jury is racist. No, that means whoever put that jury together structurally configured that jury to the place where now you're going to have less people who understand your way of life there. Now, how they behave is the systemic part. If they behave in a way that says, hey, I know my kind and I'm only go fight for my kind, now that systemic problem is the behavior that shows you that version of the racism. Whereas if they're fair, balanced, and they try to hear the other side, then that's not systemic racism. So just know the systemic part is behavior, the structure part is configuration and makeup. That's the best way of looking at those two. So anyway, we've built something, and we've built something that allowed us to form our own system. And structurally, we've built something that allows us to realign relationships. And I shared this with this elder. While you're out talking about stopping the violence, dealing with the missing girls, dealing with all these issues, I said, what I'm concerned about is building and maintaining a system. And with that system, what that means is, dead or alive, with or without me, we have something that allows people to be empowered, to be connected. So whatever it is, if you want to fight for the missing girls, now because of the system, you get in there, now you're linked in with other people who want to fight with you, and they're linked in with how they can get the money to finance that movement. That's what we've built. It's a done deal. It's done. We built the system to go against the system that's been hurting us. And it took 26 years to do it. I'm confident now because, for the most part, the only thing left to do now is to go out to you guys, sell it to you. We have to help you see how to operate differently now that you got layers of support, now that you got a systematic process to empower whatever it is that you're working on. I had a leader who has their group, and their group is in Chicago. And I said, look at this. Because of this system we have, just imagine your group name Chicago, your group name Miami, your group name Detroit, your group name Milwaukee. And that's a reality because of the structure, because of the system that's been built. That person can take what God gave them to do and take it all over the country using a system that's already in place. That's the benefit of what we have here. And now it's just a matter of getting you guys, getting everyone to pay for it. That's it. So it's just a matter of time, and people are going to do that. And when we do that, we're going to see vibrant blocks. We're going to see the guys you see on the corner hanging out, carjacking and doing things of that nature. Well, if they carjacking, they got to go to jail or tone. Then we'll help them. We ain't harboring criminals. But you're going to see people not feeling isolated, starved, and exploited. They're going to be talking about their schedule. They're going to be talking about the new habits they have. They're going to be talking about their network, how they're traveling and going to different places. That's the future. And just like I shared with a few other people, real estate is an anchor, and real estate is going to be a way that a lot of our people are going to be able to have sustainability as the job market continues to go and spiral down, and we move more toward universal basic income. This is where real estate is going to anchor a lot of us. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. Just to recap, again, thank you guys for the birthday love. Thank Georgia for electing, turning the state to a state that's going to give us change. Wanted to make sure that our white brothers who stood up for loving all humankind and denouncing what's wrong. Thank you for our white brothers who are feeling weak and insecure. We hope that you will repent, atone, and then get ready to collaborate for your own survival and sustainability. I wanted to make sure that the Chicago people knew that we have a system that deals with structural and systemic, and it's built so that we can change the way we've been operating. And then the last thing is the money. Let's talk about that. So $5,000 has to be made easier to raise. $5,000 has to be made easier to raise. We've been grateful to be able to raise $5,000 three ways now. We raised it with 5 people with $1,000. We've raised it with 50 people doing $100, and we raised it through one person doing the whole 5,000. And in each of them instances, we had to give the money right back because these are loans. And I want you guys to know what's more important is to have 419 people do $12, which is what we ask for everyone. That's 5 grand. That's more important than one person doing the whole $5,000. It's more important than 5 people doing $1,000 because those 419 people, $12 mean we get to know 419 people and what their passions are, what they love working on, so we can link them to other people doing the same thing. So that's it. This video will be available on YouTube tomorrow, and you guys please share it. Make sure people know the $12 is the key, but we had to do it in increments of $5,000 so we can take that model all over the country. 5,000 in Detroit, 5,000 in Milwaukee, 5,000 in St. Louis, putting people to work, using our own money to do it, and getting the structure and the system operating in each of these cities so that we can, as a whole, be there for each other, loving each other, and making things happen. My number is 312 area code 405-8844. That's 312-405-8844. Let's rock and roll. It's a new year. Let's go.